Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where your boys always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlaw.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle, and today, guys, it is happening again. Juan Soto, some big news just dropped about him and the Toronto Blue Jays, and apparently the Blue Jays have made a very serious offer. And Juan Soto, when is he going to sign? Apparently, it's happening very, very soon. It's happening all over again, guys. It's happening again.
Seriously. And it could happen, actually, on the exact same day. We were just talking about this, reminiscing on the Shohei Ohtani live stream, following along with the plane. That was on December 9th last year.
Yeah.
It has been reported that Juan Soto is going to sign by the latest on Monday, which also works out to be December 9th. This is just a whole full circle moment. I am ready to get hurt again. Let's break into some of the reports
Let's do it, man. Let's start off with the first thing that happened this morning. And mind you, guys, by the time this podcast come out, like, we're probably going to film this like an hour before the release. Things may already started to change. But
this is the kind of where we're at right now. Like, everything is hot. The stove is cooking.
Right, exactly. So also, guys, be staying in tune. We're going to be having some live streams coming up throughout this entire week if this continues to happen like this. But the report this morning came from Matthew Moreno. Now, he was talking about, he was quoting the show that happened. I think it's called 570 AM in LA, and they had a guy on there. His name is, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Vesey, but he's very connected to the LA Dodgers. Now, he had a quote that came out here, basically talking about how they did their due diligence, the LA Dodgers, and they met with Scott Boras and Juan Soto. My understanding is that it is nearing a close, the whole Juan Soto sweepstakes he's talking about. And the Toronto Blue Jays have made a serious offer. The New York Mets have made a serious offer. And the Yankees maybe on the outside looking in here. And then he talks about the Boston Red Sox. He said, I know a lot of people thought Big Papi with a Santa Claus type of laugh was going to lure Soto to Boston. I don't know the exact numbers, but my understanding is coming down to the wire. And I wouldn't be surprised to me if Juan Soto signed before the winter meeting started on Sunday. So the big thing, obviously, that we got to take away from here as Toronto Blue Jay fans is it looks like it's down to the Mets, and it looks like it's down to the Blue Jays.
That is kind of what's being reported right now, and that goes along with what MLB Network actually posted just a little while ago. A few days back, there was a whole craze that he was going to go to the Boston Red Sox, and MLB Network released this chart, this kind of pie chart, looking at what they thought to be the most accurate percentages as to where Juan Soto was going to sign. And everybody was kind of shocked that Boston Red Sox were only at 6%, and the Toronto Blue Jays were actually up at 30, just trailing the New York Mets at 37%. These are the guys that are clued in, that should know what is happening in the industry, and they were saying that the Toronto Blue Jays are second right now in the Juan Soto sweepstakes behind the New York Mets. This recent report here, coming from Vasey, or however you pronounce his name, this corroborates what they were saying, right? It's saying that the Toronto Blue Jays have made a very serious offer, and it is also saying that we are now in the end game, because in the next, 48 to 72 hours, a deal could be done.
A deal could very well be done. And, when we actually talked about this on a podcast recently, where we talked about, the reports are coming out that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to make the highest offer.
Sure.
So immediately that should put us as favorites, right? And you know what? It's starting to change. That narrative is starting to change. We're apparently the number 2 favorite. Now, some betting odds may have us different, but that's apparently what's coming out here, and it does make sense. If Steve Cohen was going to pay a lot of money, but then the Blue Jays are saying, well, no, we're going to pay a lot of money. We're going to pay the most money. Then you might have this battle right now between Steve Cohen and Toronto Blue Jays, but that could also get very messy if you're ever considering about saving money or not paying him that
listen,
much money.
I want to be very clear right now, okay? If the Toronto Blue Jays actually manage to pull this off, it's going to be an overpay. You're going to look at that contract, and it's going to be insane. This is somebody that could get paid $45, $50, $60 million average annual value a year. That is the number that it could really reach if they really seriously, if Edward Rogers and Steve Cohen get into a mano a mano type of bidding war. It is going to be a lot of money. Do I care? Not really, because it's Juan freaking Soto. This is a generational talent who would change the culture, change everything about this Toronto Blue Jays team. And I'm sure that you guys are sensing the excitement in my voice, because I am starting to buy in a little bit. Am I fully,
dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Am I fully bought in? Do I fully believe that we're going to do this? No. And I need to keep reminding myself that. I do not believe that we're going to do this. However, It's once again coming down to the wire. The Toronto Blue Jays are looking like they're going to be finalists. I was hurt so horribly last year, and I guess against my better judgment, I am, again, ready to be hurt.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think we're going to get him either. If I had to bet my life on it, I definitely don't think we're going to get him. I think he's going to be a New York Met, just like last year we thought Ohtani should be a Dodger. But this is the fun part about being a sports fan. This morning was the first time I felt excited, genuinely excited. Genuinely. You know? That's the thing. It's like, look, if we're in the World Series against the LA Dodgers, I'm just happy to be here.
Yes.
You know, like, we're in the running.
More times than not,
we
will lose.
But
there will be some outcomes where we win.
Exactly, right? So I know there's going to be comments out there saying, boys, don't do this. You know, I don't want to hear about this, you know, and other things like that. Guys, this is just going to be an exciting, next fun, 7 days, 4 days. You just got to enjoy it, right?
Yes.
So the Blue Jays, going back to the whole money thing, like they will legitimately have to offer Steve Cohen, like, or outbid Steve Cohen, like, 40, 50 million more dollars. Like if Steve Cohen's willing to go like 700, like Blue Jays are literally going to have to go 750. I know I joked about that on a skit, but legitimately, like that's what's going to have to be because we have all the taxes, we have a losing team. There's going to have to be a little bit more that you're going to have to
exactly. And if they're genuinely serious about this, not only is it a money thing for the Toronto Blue Jays, but they have to use their biggest I guess they got to use their desperation to their advantage, right? Because that is something that they have over the New York Mets. We are desperate, and we got to know that we're desperate. That was a team that just went to the NLCS last year, right? We did not do that. We were not even close to going to the semifinals, right? We are so far away from that. And apparently the Toronto Blue Jays are desperate. So if you are desperate, then you have to be willing to do things that Steve Cohen is not willing to do. Does that mean have an opt-out after year 2?
Right.
Does that mean to have another opt-out after year 4? Right. What does that mean? What are you going to do differently than Steve Cohen to convince him to come over to the Toronto Blue Jays? Because I'll be very clear here. Yes, we've made a serious offer. Yes, we are, in the final 2 or final 3 or what have you. If it's just strictly a money thing, Steve Cohen's going to win out.
Yeah.
I really believe that Steve Cohen is not going to be outbid. So you got to do something if you're Edward Rogers and Ross Atkins and the Toronto Blue Jays. You got to be doing something that he is not willing to do.
And you got to do it soon, right? I think you got to lay it out on the table in the next 48 to 72 hours saying, okay, what is it that would convince you to come to Toronto? Like literally tell us what is it that it would take to come to Toronto? Like that's how desperate you got to be. And those decisions could be happening soon. Like we mentioned, it should be happening by the latest this Monday. That came out by Jon Morosi, actually. It could be happening the latest this Monday.
Yeah, the words that he used is that a deal is in fact imminent.
It is in fact imminent. So when it's in the title, we're not just bullshitting you guys. It is literally imminent. It could happen, hell, it could happen this Saturday. It could happen this Friday. It could happen anytime soon. But what's exciting about this, even if we don't get Juan Soto, which again, I don't think we will, there could be some exciting fallout that could happen from it because, hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only, must be 19 years older to participate, and guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. He also brings up Jon Morosi right here that if the Blue Jays don't get Juan Soto, the next target that a lot of teams could be looking at that were in on Juan Soto is Corbin Burnes, who arguably could be the second highest paid player of this free agency. And apparently the Toronto Blue Jays, this came out right before this podcast, that they have reportedly just met with Corbin Burnes per Jon Morosi.
We have been telling you guys for a while now that this team is going to do something, and they're going to do something big, and we're not the only ones, right? I think Jeff Passan came out and was talking about that. Like various other MLB insiders have come out and said this Toronto Blue Jays team, they are going to be active this winter. If they miss out on Juan Soto, that doesn't mean that this offseason is dead in the water. And I really do hope, and I'm starting to believe that we learned our lesson from last year. You were all in on Shohei Ohtani. You got used right up until the final hour of his decision-making. And then what happened? He goes to the LA Dodgers, which is what everybody expected from the very beginning, and we miss out on everybody. Ross Atkins and the Toronto Blue Jays management has got to do it better this winter. I hope that by them meeting with Corbin Burnes, that with all the rumors about Max Fried, that with, them and being kind of linked to Teoscar Hernandez, all of these various things, this is him making sure that all of his eggs aren't in the Juan Soto basket, because even though you need to give him your best possible offer and you need to be with him to that very final hour, you can't be left flat-footed when he does inevitably sign with the New York Mets, and now you're wondering, okay, well, where do we go next?
Exactly.
We need to be able to pivot. Corbin Burnes or Teo or Santander or what have you. Those would still be very good pivot options.
Yeah, and like a lot of people could say, like, well, we need bats. Like, we have enough pitching, da-da-da-da. Well, again, best player available. Corbin Burnes is literally the next best player available.
He probably is,
other than Roki Sasaki, right? And you can still get that guy in the new year. But go get that guy, get it done any way possible, and then go fix the offense anyway. Because if you add Corbin Burnes, I mean, think about that rotation. It's Burnes, it's Barrios, it's Gausman. That's your 1, 2, 3. Then you got breakup Bowden Francis and Chris Bassett rounding that. Like, that's going to win you a lot more games in itself. And if the offense isn't as good, as we hoped it to be with like a big bat like Juan Soto, so it's going to be exciting, guys. So stay tuned. We could be live tomorrow. We're going to be live for the Blue Jays show tomorrow, but we could be live again. We could be live Saturday, Sunday. Who knows? But stay tuned. We're going to be following the rumors along here, guys.
In conclusion, everybody, Toronto Blue Jays are finalists once again with a very serious offer. The deal is in fact imminent, probably going to get finalized this weekend, and of course we're going to be covering it here. So make sure that you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, let us know your thoughts about everything that we talked about in the comments down below. Do you want Soto? Do you not want Soto? Do you want Corbin Burnes? Do you not want Corbin Burnes? We want to hear about it down below.
Guys, $3 a month to become a Patreon member. Shout out, thank you to all of our current Patreon members and to our YouTube members. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Thank you so much for watching, and as always,
Go Jays, go!